KK's Priest just played their first ever live show with the support of nobody else but the legendary Paul Di'Anno.
Can you believe that?
And just as expected, this concert of course divided the heavy metal fans into I love it and I hate it camps.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So without any further ado, let's discuss both KK's and Paul's performances, their form, and then do something what so many seem to love doing the most. Compare KK's new band to Judas Priest. Here you go. While the show at his own steel mill was of course very special for KK Downing, it was no less important for Paul Di'Anno, for it was the first time the legendary Iron Maiden vocalist performed in the United Kingdom in almost 10 years.
It's just outrageous.
And since last year, as we all know, Paul underwent a major surgery, this show was highly anticipated by all those who follow first Iron Maiden studio vocalist's career, and the whole fact that he was supposed to perform the songs from the first two Iron Maiden studio albums of course only added to that excitement. And so at his first UK gig in roughly gazillion years, overall Paul Di'Anno performed 8 tracks, 4.5 from Iron Maiden and 3.5 from Killers. Cause, you know, being from Europe, I never actually considered Sanctuary a part of Iron Maiden's debut record. Anyways, although at least for this gig, Paul remained in his wheelchair and wasn't able to move around the stage much, from the videos I've seen online and from all the feedback I got from those metal pilgrims who were actually able to attend the show, Paul sounded simply amazing and possibly better than he did in the past decade. And this, of course, is just great news for all the Iron Maiden fans, for after everything Paul has gone through in the last couple of years, we all just wish him the best and hope that his health improves and we will once again be able to see him rocking the world and running around the stage at the future shows.
Old Spice.
Went out on tour again, which has been fucking brilliant. You saved my life. Thank you, guys.
Overall, this concert became somewhat of a practice show before the actual UK tour, on which KK's Priest will go with Paul Di'Anno and one of the hottest new bands in heavy metal, Burning Witches. And in all fairness, I gotta say that although, no, of course this is not in any way the same thing as Judas Priest and Iron Maiden actually touring together, I would absolutely love to see all of those 3 artists on stage at the same time. Although, as most of you guys know, this is sadly impossible for me this year. By the way guys, I just wanted to say that only around 30% of the people who are watching my videos are actually subscribed to the Metal Pilgrim channel. So if for some reason you still haven't done so yet, and especially if you do enjoy our Up the Irons and Defenders of the Faith series, please consider doing it right now.
Just like that.
From the open notes of KK's Priest set, it was clear that with the debut concert at his home base, KK Downing will go full force to show everything he's got with his new band. And in all fairness, it looks like he actually succeeded in it. Overall, the band performed 15 tracks, 6 originals, including one song which hasn't even come out yet, and 9 Judas Priest covers. And although, don't get me wrong, I of course absolutely love each of the Judas Priest songs they perform, I actually thought that it would be much cooler if the scale would tilt the other way, with more originals being performed at the gig. And I actually think that the more tracks from the band's second album are revealed, the more KK's Priest songs will eventually make it into the setlist. At least that would make much more sense to me, because in the end of the day, that's the band you're coming out to see live. But anyways, one of the highlights of the Judas Priest part of the set was of course the live rendition of the song Burn in Hell, which we haven't really heard live since 2002. And overall, I gotta say that since KK's Priest do perform some of the Judas Priest songs, I'd love it if they would rather concentrate on the Tim Ripper Owens era of the band, since all of those songs were written specifically for him and together with him, and thus it would simply make much more sense for him to sing those instead of breaking the law. And yeah, I would absolutely love to hear Cathedral Spires live.
To rise of man ascend, the end is come.
And by the way, talking about Tim, we just have to point out that it is absolutely amazing to see him in such a great shape. I mean, he's been taking a really good care of himself and really has changed his lifestyle in the past year or so. And it actually does show in both the way he looks and, what is most importantly, in the way he sounds. And here's the thing, whether you like the two Judas Priest albums released with Ripper on vocals or not, one thing is absolutely clear. Back in the day, he's been given a pretty much impossible task. Because let's be honest here, no one can replace Metal God as the voice of Judas Priest. His unique voice is an integral part of the musical composition of Judas Priest.
Yes, that's true.
And the thing is that Tim, being a huge Judas Priest fan, of course knew that and most likely agrees with it. But in my opinion, Tim Ripper Owens actually did that in the best possible way. And no one back then would be able to do a better job than him. And even more, I actually believe that if not for Juggulator and Demolition, there would most likely never be a loud reunion back in 2003, as there simply would be nothing to return to at that point. Regarding the rest of the band, there were absolutely zero surprises, because I don't think that anyone had any doubts that AJ, Tony, and Sean are simply incredible and very skillful musicians.
Exactly.
And so the coolest part from watching the footage from that show online, for me personally, was actually following the man himself, KK Downing, and especially seeing how nervous he is. I mean, what I personally, and I'm sure many other Judas Priest fans, always loved about KK Downing is how passionate he is about anything he does. And of course, with this being the band's first ever live show, KK naturally wanted everything to be flawless. Thus, the whole fact that at being 71 years old, and after doing this for more than 50 years, KK still cares so much about what he does, how it is perceived, and what kind of experience he's given to his fans is possibly one of the best parts about this whole KK's Priest going live thing in general. So now we're coming to what is supposedly the most important part of this video, answering the question which band, whether it is Judas Priest or KK's Priest, which is more true to the original. And my answer is... stop it! No, seriously, this has been one of the most toxic and one of the most annoying things in the heavy metal community for quite a while now. I think everyone knows how much I love Judas Priest. I mean, this band means the world to me, and their music has been with me pretty much throughout my entire life. And I know that I said it before, and I'll say it again, that I feel like a grown-up child of two divorced parents who clearly weren't happy together for quite some time now and are trying to move on. And while yes, of course I would like them to get over their differences, the last thing I want to see is them doing it for their 30-something-year-old kid while being absolutely miserable.
It's a lot of big words, alright.
And so, answering such a popular comment online, no, this does not sound like Judas Priest. It sounds part Judas Priest because yes, of course, KK Downing was an essential part of that band for almost 40 years. But if we take a look at the structure of the rhythm section or the twin guitar tag, it is actually structured much more like in Iron Maiden than in Judas Priest. And with the band's first live performance, you can actually hear it much better. This, in my opinion, is absolutely okay, because it is a different band. And so my verdict is, if you absolutely hate KK's Priest and everything around it, it's totally fine. Just don't listen to it. And the same goes for if you are a die-hard KK's Priest fan. But in either of those cases, just stop this toxic comparison between the two bands. Because first of all, no, they do not sound the same. And secondly, no, one does not replace the other. But anyways, what do you guys personally think about the first KK's Priest live performance? And would you like to see this band live? Please let us know in the comments. Because the truth is that I would absolutely love to see the upcoming KK's Priest and Paul Di'Anno tour. Although sadly, I, just like all of the other Ukrainians, will have to miss it. And so here I just wanted to remind you once again, guys, that the biggest war since World War II is going on right now, right in the middle of Europe. And thank you guys so much for supporting me, this show, and Ukraine through this very, very difficult time. We will prevail. Slava Ukraini!